I'm here today with Debbie Hepplewhite, who's the author of No Nonsense Phonics Skills, and Kate Flowerdew, who's been using it in her school. So Debbie, can you explain why this programme will be so successful?
Yes, certainly. First of all, it's totally underpinned by the findings of research. And I'm not just talking about one piece of research or cherry-picking that research. I'm talking about an international body of research which has been building up for actually decades. And from that, we've been able to summarise what we call the 5 pillars of literacy. And I'm going to go through those here now. First of all, we have phonemic awareness, that learners need to be aware of the sounds in our language for both reading and spelling purposes. Then we now understand that we need to teach the complex English alphabetic code very systematically and explicitly and cumulatively. And actually, we're developing phonemic awareness within teaching the phonics. Then we need to teach vocabulary very explicitly. So of course children will be picking up language all of the time and at a quite fast rate, but as teachers we need to build on that and teach it explicitly and do overlearning for that. Then we need to be conscious of building up fluency. So some children are naturally able to read and read very quickly and soon build up their confidence, but for a lot of children it's not like that. So they need lots of repetition and repeat reading. And you have to think about what materials are the most suitable to allow that repetition. And then building up to the higher order stuff, we're thinking about language comprehension. So how well do they understand the material that they're reading? And language comprehension is about the spoken language, and it's also about reading comprehension, so that when they read a text, how well do they understand that text and how can they unpick that? So that's summarising a whole body of research. And then in England, when we had the National Review in 2006, conducted by Sir Jim Rose and his team, they recommended that we think about reading as 2 main processes called the simple view of reading. And the up-to-date national curriculum for English for Key Stage 1 and 2 is based on the simple view of reading. So by that I mean, the 2 main processes are technical things how we can decode the words and recognise them instantly and build up that competency to lift the words off the page. And as teachers, that's our responsibility to teach explicitly. And then it's the spoken language of the children for how well they can understand what they are reading. And as teachers, we're developing that all of the time within the reading instruction, within the wider curriculum. So how does that fit into this series of 9 books? Well, first of all, I've been working in this field for a very, very long time, and I've been teaching for many years. And so all of that practical experience and building on that work has gone into the design of this material. And what I've made sure is that we're actually addressing the technical processes of the phonics, but then immediately applying and extending that to actual texts. And I call them plain texts. So these are texts, little mini stories that don't have clues. The children have to apply and work hard. And so really, teachers will recognise that we've got our technical stuff to do, and this is the phonics, and that phonics is not just about blending for reading and segmenting for spelling, it's about handwriting. And research has shown us that actually the links with handwriting and phonics are really important. So in our material, we've actually built in handwriting with the alphabet letters and with the digraphs and trigraphs and with the sounds that match in our speech. What teachers will also recognise are what we call the teaching and learning cycle. We understand now about the concept of revisit and review. We're doing that every single lesson. We then have teacher-led, introducing the new or the focus letter sound correspondence. And then we need pupil practice at word level, so for reading and for spelling and the handwriting as well. But in this body of work, we then go on to those plain cumulative texts where children are digging deep and the teacher's working with the child on those texts and developing language comprehension.
Lovely. E. Great. I. Nice. We did A yesterday. Do you remember A was the bit of code that we learnt with the split digraph? That's what we learnt yesterday. Okay, we'll do one more. I'm really pleased how well you've remembered that, because U was a bit of a hard one for us to learn, wasn't it? We kept saying oo, yeah. Sometimes it's oo, sometimes it's you, and we learnt that split digraph like that. I want you to go through and start working straight away on your own going through your Say the Sounds sheet, and you know what to do, so small ticks. Well done, Brooke. And put a circle round if you don't know. With this one.
Yeah. I want to see if there's a few that you know. Do you remember this one here where it's got 2 sounds? And
have a look at this one here where it's got a number 2. Right, what's that one? Yeah, like in head. Can you think of the word where the E is spelt like that? Give yourself 2 ticks. I'll give you 2 ticks as I heard you. What's that? Very nice. Well done, Fletcher. Keep going. And Charlie, hold on a second. Are there any of these words that you're finding? So if you just recognise them and you remember how to do it, so you don't need to have to blend the whole word, okay? So have a quiz this one. Great. Super. But you might have to blend those longer words. Remember what that one was?
Landscape.
Remember what it means? We talked about that quite a lot last week.
Yeah. Like, this is landscape.
And what way is that?
Portrait.
Portrait, that's right, we talked about paper, didn't we? And also the picture that you look out of your window will be your landscape as well. Okay, let's go through the next word. Oh, sorry. There's something special about this word. Has anyone noticed anything special about this word? Zoe, what do you notice?
This and the K make the S sound.
Good girl. So there's 2 letters, S and a C, but there's only one sound. It's a what sound is it, Zoe? Good girl. Okay, all together. S.
E. C.
Okay, now scene. I don't want you confusing this scene with a different sort of scene. If you're looking at something, I have seen you, it's not spelt this way, okay? This is a different sort of scene. Anyone remember who's had a go reading Missing Lily? Some of you in my class have had to go reading Missing Lily. And Missing Lily is a special sort of book. It's not a story, it was a play. Do you remember, like you might see at the theatre? Hands down then. And when you make a play or write a play or put on a play at the theatre, you have different scenes. So those are all our words there that we've read. Now we're going to do a little bit of our spelling routine to work out the sounds in words to spell. So you're going to need your fingers ready for your air writing. I've got my pen. And the first word we're going to try and spell is theme. So you need your left hand with your palm facing you. And we're going to try and work out the sounds in theme. So let's say it nice and slowly. Theme. Theme. Okay, I'm going to draw 3 lines. I can see lots of you holding up 3 fingers with your spelling hand. Well done. Now, let's write the sounds in the right place. Can you say them with me? And you can write them in the air as we work them out. Off we go. Theme. Writing them in the air. Theme. Let's check by blending. Let's see if we spelt the word correctly. Theme. Oh, I can give myself a tick. Can you give yourself a tick in the air? Did you spell that correctly? Now let's have a go writing the whole word. So in the air, with your finger writing the whole word, and make sure that you're saying the whole word as you write it. Off you go. Theme. Did you notice that I didn't do my cross on my T? I'm going to do that now, after I finished writing it. Going to look at the 4 pictures in the puzzle and work out the sounds in those words. So the first word, tomato, and then we've got a centipede, and we've got somebody who is from Sweden, so the name that you call that person is a Swede. So have a think about those words when you come to play your little game. Right, I really like the way that you're going through, most of you've got to your words now, and you're going through and underlining all the E graphemes you can see. So I'd like you to have a look at the story, and I'd like you to just go straight through and start reading the story to yourself. Off you go.
Their friends are lining up to compete for parts in the play. Everyone wants to see if they can perform. Pete, Steve and Eve are so delighted to see their friends that they create roles for each and every one of them. Imagine the scene with a circus big top theme, 11 crazy clowns trying to perform on a constantly swinging trapeze. That's so cold for each and every one of them. Imagine there's this scene with before on a can't read it. Neither. Sucklet. Swimming. Sucklet. Swimming. That's a circus. Oh. Swimming trapeze. Swimming trapeze. Oh, swimming aquabat.
Right, everyone, we're going to have a go reading the whole story together now. Extremely funny. 3 good friends, Pete, Steve and Eve, plan to write a play script together which an extremely funny theme.
Well, we started using these resources with targeted support with older children in Key Stage 2 who had fallen behind with their phonics, had not passed the phonics screen and needed some extra teaching. And then it's grown into, well, these resources are working for these children, so can we use them further across the whole school? And started to use them in early years and in Key Stage 1 as well. Where we have classes which are working all on the same piece of work, what we've discovered is that we can move the children up together. We're not putting a ceiling on the learning. Children who maybe can't read the entire body of the mini story are still learning the graphemes, they're being exposed to the vocabulary, they are having a go at their own pace. They're not noticing who's working faster, who's working slower, but they are not being held back in their learning.
Now, can I ask you about this as well, please, Kate? Because one of the things that I keep banging on about is this notion of spelling word banks. So we're doing the wonderful oral segmenting, we're teaching about the alphabetic code and how it links with the alphabet and the letter formation. But then what children also need to know is which words are spelt which way. And so it's, can you tell me 6 words or 10 words spelt with the OA grapheme or the AI? And that's something that we need to build in as well. And so in terms of the design of the books, that's what we're including, these spelling word banks.
And one of the helpful parts of the books is that there is that information for teachers. So the words that you might be using, the way you might explain something to the children is just there and just in little writing, so you can glance down and say it to the child in a consistent approach.
And I think that's one of the things I've tried to do. I mean, at the beginning of these books, we take the whole of that alphabetic code chart and we've got the overview constantly, but then we're actually building up the chart in the steps with little post-it notes guidance for the adults as we go along. So each book is building up the chart. We have the overview, we can refer to it in the phonics lessons and in the wider curriculum for reading and spelling, and then we're building it up in chunks as we go along, so we're addressing both needs.